This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Hey team, we have a new sponsor here at the Crypto Conversation, BitGet, one of the world's leading copy trading cryptocurrency exchanges. Yes, indeed. What happens if you've got the funds to invest, but you don't have the time to keep track of the market? You still want to make smart money moves. What do you do? Well, copy trading is a popular choice for beginner traders. You can shorten your learning curve by uncovering tips and strategies from more experienced traders. BitGet's copy trading platform has over 80,000 elite traders to choose from and 380,000 followers just like yourself who are already using the BitGet copy trading platform as a potential passive income stream. All it takes is one click. You can subscribe to an elite, profitable strategist, set your limits, automate your orders, and monitor their trades. I've got some links in the show notes below. One link will take you through to the BitGet sign-up page, give you a VIP discount. So learn all about it for yourself thanks to BitGet. And now it is on with the show. Hey folks, Andy here, and yes, firstly, thanks to BitGet for sponsoring the show. As I mentioned, that VIP link to sign up to BitGet is in the show notes, and if you use that link, you can sign up and trade to get a $50 bonus. Yes, indeed, $50 bonus in USDT. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up to BitGet and redeem your $50 in USDT just by following the link in the show notes. My guest today is Winston Zhang. Winston is a co-founder at Cega, which offers safer and transparent yield strategies as DeFi's first exotic options protocol. Fascinating. Welcome to the show, Winston.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andy. And I'm really excited to be here.
Excited to have you here, Winston. Look, let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. It'd be great if you could please introduce yourself. Love to hear a little bit about your personal story in the lead up to co-founding Cega.
Yeah, of course. So my background's mostly been in tech and entrepreneurship. So I was living in San Francisco for almost 9 years and only recently moved to New York. And while in SF, I was an early employee at DoorDash as a product manager, growing the consumer side of the business. That was a really interesting experience. Then I left because I got into Y Combinator. So went through YC in their 2020 batch, raised a seed round for a different company that I was building at the time. And that was a really great learning experience, but ultimately we did not find product market fit. And I think having been in the Bay Area, you're constantly working with and meeting lots and lots of people that are constantly curious about the latest technologies. And so crypto had always been something that was discussed early on. And after shutting down our YC company, there were a number of really interesting ideas that I'd wanted to work on in crypto and teamed up with my current co-founders to build Cega. So that's sort of a quick background of myself.
Fantastic. Well, give us then a bit more of some background on what Cega is, and I suppose the origin story for why you guys spotted presumably a gap in the market for something like this, and why you decided to go forward.
Yeah, for sure. So in a nutshell, Cega, we're the first DeFi protocol to have launched on-chain exotic options structured products. And so these are actually a multi-trillion-dollar type of product that exists in the traditional finance world, but hasn't yet been launched in crypto. And historically in traditional finance, these products are gate-kept to very wealthy, ultra-wealthy types of individuals. And what's really exciting about crypto is that not only are you able to increase access to this product through on-chain technologies, you're actually also able to benefit from crypto underlying assets that make these products higher yield. So we were the very first protocol to launch these products on-chain. And since we've launched, we've actually traded more than 250 million of total volume through the platform. And the product that we offer to users is in the form of what's called a vault. So users deposit USDC stablecoin, they can generate yield on their stablecoin, and they also receive downside protection against severe market drops. And so there's a number of things about the Cega product that's really innovative and solves real problems in the crypto market, which is why we set out to launch Cega in the first place. So the three main problems that we were trying to solve were, number one, in DeFi, there's been a consistent decline in yields. Number two, there has been not a lot of really great options for users to generate yield in a safer way and avoid a lot of the rugs that come with token emissions or Ponzi-nomics or fake APYs that don't actually pay any real yield. And so we wanted to solve the problem of users being able to generate a safer yield. And then the third problem that we're trying to solve was this problem where there's lack of new innovation in DeFi, and we've been seeing lots and lots of projects fork each other. And so what's really innovative about Cega is that these exotic options products that we're bringing to the market offer higher yields, and they're also real yields on USDC. So it's USDC deposit, USDC earn, and we make a product safer for investors by offering downside protection. So depending on the strategy that users are picking for them to generate yield, they can receive between 30% to 90% downside protection against severe market drops. And that just increases the product's ability to offer safer returns. And then on the innovation front, this is a really innovative product because it hasn't been launched in DeFi yet. And it took a lot of really talented work, both in terms of financial engineering, data engineering, and actual smart contract development to bring this type of a advanced and high-performing options product into DeFi. So that's a sort of quick overview of Cega and some of the problems that we're trying to solve.
Thank you, Winston. Tell us then, how long since you've launched, I suppose, on mainnet, and who are the, I suppose, DeFi users or the different market segments that you're really targeting with these products, Winston? Who are you making Cega for?
Yeah, so we launched, or I guess today Cega is live on both Ethereum and Solana. We launched our DevNet to Solana last March. So it's been more than a year since DevNet launch, and we launched on the Solana mainnet last June. So we're coming up to the 1 year mark. And on the Ethereum mainnet side, we've actually recently launched our full suite of products on Ethereum. So we're really excited to have increased accessibility for DeFi users to be able to access these Cega yielding vaults across both Solana and Ethereum mainnet. And the types of users that we're targeting, the types of users that we've acquired so far from our understanding, having done user research, is any user who has stablecoin, specifically USDC, and who typically does yielding strategies on their stablecoins, finds Cega to be a really beneficial part of their overall strategy. We offer between 5 to 20% APY on stablecoin yields, and that's real yield paid in USDC. And we also have a leveraged product that gives users the ability to earn up to 5 times that APY. So sometimes users can actually see APYs, 50, 60%, depending on their strategy. So users who have stablecoin, users who do stablecoin yielding generation strategies love Cega. Some of the other types of users that we understand are using Cega today from user research have been liquid funds or DAOs that look to generate higher yields, safer yields on portions of their treasury as part of a diversified investment portfolio. So typically the crowds that we've seen use Cega so far have been very DeFi native. And from an acquisition perspective too, we've spoken to lots of users that run the whole spectrum of DeFi native, super crypto native, very degen, all the way to newcomers to crypto. And we've found that it's been a lot easier to explain the products and to get users to actually make their first deposit if they have some background experience in DeFi. And I think for us, we'd love to target all the users who are onboarding into crypto, but for the initial focus, we're gravitating towards the DeFi native, crypto native crowd.
Got it. Winston, let's talk about some of the products then, because if you go to the Cega app or website, which is, or I'm looking at the website, which is app.cega.fi, and you can see some of the products on the home page. Do you want to use a couple of these as examples, Winston, and just talk us through them? So I can see there's one called Supercharger, which has currently 10.59% APY. It says plug into supercharged blue chip yields while continuing to receive protection against moderate big market downturns. We've got Gotta Go Fast, Starboard, and Sanic. Talk us through some of these products and how they work and the different purposes, Winston.
Yeah, that sounds great. So at a high level, we offer investors three main types of investment strategies. Number one, we have pure options vaults.
Yep.
Number two, we have bond and options vaults. And number three, we have leveraged options vaults. So depending on the strategy that users pick, they correspond to different levels of risk reward requirements. And so starting with pure options vaults, the example that you just highlighted now was Supercharger. So with any of the vaults, there's really two questions that users have to ask themselves. Number one, what is the underlying asset that I want exposure to with this type of a options trade? So some of the more conservative users only want exposure to Bitcoin and Ether price movements. They don't want any altcoins as part of that mix. So for them, they might prefer a product like Supercharger, which only has options exposure to Bitcoin and Ether prices. The second question that users should ask themselves is, what level of downside protection do they want to have? So Cega strategies are really great for users who are bullish or moderately bullish on crypto markets in the next month. And even if crypto markets were to take a tumble in the next month, users can receive downside protection up to a certain level and not lose any of their initial deposits, even if markets take a tumble. And so for users, if they, on the more aggressive side, they can receive up to a 30% downside protection, which means that if Ethereum were to fall to $1,200, only then would users potentially start losing some of their initial deposit. But even if Ethereum were to fall from 1,800 to 1,700 to 1,500 to 1,400, it's still above that downside protection level. And so users wouldn't be losing their initial investment. And for a product like Supercharger, which gives investors exposure to Bitcoin and Ether prices and has a 30% level of downside protection, that product is yielding 10.59% APY today. And the APYs are also, they're fixed for the 1 month staking duration when users deposit their USDC. But the APYs actually change on a weekly basis, depending on which 1 month vaults users are investing in. And the APY is a function of the market's current volatility. Now, moving over to the more conservative side, just to give an example of the product.
Cruise control. Cruise control would be an example of the more conservative side, Winston.
Yeah, exactly. So cruise control is an example of product strategy number two that I was sort of highlighting earlier, which is called the bond and options product. So for this product, the biggest difference between the product number two, bond and options, versus product number one, pure options, is the addition of the bond component. So for users that deposit USDC into this product, let's say you deposited 1,000 USDC into the bond and options vault. Your 1,000 USDC would be lent to the counterparty over the course of the 1 month staking period. And at the end of the 1 month period, the counterparty would return the 1,000 USDC and they would pay the yield. And the yield is a combination of interest on effectively the bond, as well as the options premium. And so in the case of cruise control, the reason that it's the most conservative product is because it offers the highest level of downside protection. So unless crypto markets were to tumble below 90, like to take a fall of greater than 90% in a 1 month period. So in that case, Ether would have to fall to less than $180. There's no risk to the user in terms of losing their initial investment from an options being in the money perspective. And with cruise control as well, the underlying assets that users are exposed to are only Bitcoin and Ether. So it's also the more conservative basket of crypto assets. And for a product like this, it's currently yielding 5.6% APY.
And that's presumably the reason, because it's the safest, lowest risk strategy. That would be. It looks like cruise control is the most popular product at the moment, with 7.6 million product total value locked. So that's the most popular vault at the moment, Winston.
Yep, it's the most popular product. We found from user research that it's actually really interesting. Users kind of gravitate towards two products in our portfolio. They gravitate towards the safest product, which would be the blue chip Bitcoin Ether only 90% downside protected cruise control product, or they actually gravitate towards the other end, where they want to get higher yields, and they would actually be investing in Supercharger, which still gives them access to blue chip underlyings like Bitcoin and Ether, but has a 30% price drop protection level. And what's really interesting about Supercharger is that with all of our pure option strategies, including Supercharger, users actually have the ability to take leverage on their existing investments up to a 5x. So in our app UI, there's a slider that lets users pick between 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, and 5x. And for example, today, a user who wants to stake up to a 5x leverage level could be getting 37.3% APY.
So that's like a kind of a rough DeFi version of what Taleb used to talk about, the barbell strategy. So a kind of degen DeFi version of a barbell strategy would be, to kind of pick your weighting, but weight between cruise control on the more conservative side and Supercharger on the more degenerate side. Winston.
Yeah, exactly.
Just, you kind of talked about this, but just explain again a little bit more on the range of the different APYs offered by Cega and where the yield ultimately is coming from.
Yeah, for sure. So Cega's yields are all real yields, and that's actually this terminology that I think sort of emerged around fall of last year. And what's really cool about real yield is that it differentiates the protocols that pay users out in emissions or have some sort of strange tokenomics or Ponzi-nomics to inflate the APYs versus protocols that actually deliver real returns for users. And we're really proud to be a real yield protocol. So what that means is that when users are looking at the APY, everything is actually, that's like kind of like what you see is what you get. So you deposit USDC, you get paid yield in USDC, and the APYs are annualized numbers from the 1 month from the APRs, which are paid to users on a monthly basis. And so in terms of the source of the yield, all of the yield is paid through options premiums, or in the case of the bond and options product, is a combination of the interest rate as well as the options premium. So behind the scenes, the way that these products work is when users deposit, let's say 1,000 USDC into one of the vaults, they're effectively taking the selling side of an options trade. And so as an options seller, all options sellers have to be paid some amount of money in order for someone else to buy that option. Because when you're giving someone an option, that optionality has value, and that optionality needs to be priced, and someone has to pay money for it. So in all of Cega's products, users are effectively selling these basket options. And when the buyer buys the option, the counterparty in this case, they have to pay the yields because they're receiving an option. And so in that sense, all of the yields are real yields. They're actually the options premiums that are coming from this specific type of an options structure. And in the case of the bond and options products, the APY is a combination of the interest rate that users receive because they're lending their capital to the counterparty over the duration of the 1 month, as well as the options premium for that specific structure.
Cool. Got it. Thank you, Winston. I'd love it maybe if we could now zoom out a bit, Winston. I'm sure you'll have some thoughts here. I'd love to get, your thoughts on, I suppose, where you see DeFi at the moment, how you see DeFi evolving, some of the risks, regulatory risk. I saw it, there's different terms and conditions suddenly seem to be popping up on like MetaMask, for example, depending on where you are in the world. How does this affect, I suppose, the promise and potential of decentralized finance? I know this is, big subjects, Winston, but just love to get, your thoughts on all of the kind of the big picture DeFi stuff.
Yeah, so I guess like, to answer the question in two parts, on one hand, like where is DeFi headed? On the other hand, some of the considerations around regulation, how that might impact DeFi. I think, today it's a bear market. And for anyone who's been tracking overall DeFi TVLs on DeFi Llama, it's really obvious that DeFi has taken a really huge fall since, FTX. And even though it's flatlined over the course of the last few months, it's definitely lower than where it used to be. And I think there's a number of factors that are required in order to continue spurring the growth of DeFi. But on an optimistic note, just from having spoken to lots of founders who are continuing to build in DeFi, especially, when you go to these crypto conferences, like our team was recently in Austin for Consensus, you just get the sentiment that the real builders are still around and they know how important it is to continue building infrastructure and new product innovations so that DeFi is even better and even stronger when the next bear market, or when the next bull market comes and when this bear market ends. But obviously, like, no one really knows when that might be, especially given all of the other unknowns happening on a macro scale in TradFi with like this high interest rate environments, inflation, some of the geopolitical considerations with Russia and China. So I think there's a lot of questions and a lot of uncertainty, but at least among the founders and the builders in DeFi, I think it's still very, very positive. And I would say on the other hand, there's definitely like the need for institutional capital to continue flowing into DeFi in order to continue growing the ecosystem. And what's really great about derivative products is that derivative products such as ours directly can help to drive the growth of institutional capital and to make Cega and to make the crypto ecosystem even bigger than what it was before. And one of the main ways that derivative products like ours can contribute to that is by creating more liquidity. So on the DeFi side, I think there's still a lot left to be seen. But as a user in DeFi, I think every time I go back and process any sort of transactions with the bank, or you're waiting over the weekend, or you're having to pay strange fees for the smallest of transactions, it just makes you appreciate how bad the existing banking product is and how some of those problems can be solved through on-chain solutions and through DeFi innovations. So yes. I think overall people are still like really optimistic about DeFi.
Yes, indeed. Nicely said. All right. Well, as we finish up this part of the podcast, Winston, please tell us, anything that you guys have in the product pipeline, what you'd hope to bring to market. I don't know, over the course of this year, or what you're working on. And again, just make the case for why DeFi users should look at Cega and what you guys are building and how they can do it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that we're working on. Most of it is pretty confidential. But I would say two of the really exciting things that we're actively doing R&D on are a couple of new products. So a month ago, we just launched Cega on Ethereum mainnet and saw a really strong reception from Ethereum users who were finally able to access our product. And we're really excited to continue bring Cega products to even more users on even more chains. So one of the questions that we're looking to answer is, how do we prioritize expanding Cega and improving access to Cega's products on different chains? At this point, most of the big L2s and competing L1s have reached out to try and get us to build our products in their ecosystems. And I think it's a matter of prioritizing the best opportunities for Cega. The second thing is, in terms of building actual product strategies, in traditional finance with exotic options, there's hundreds, potentially thousands of really different, really compelling types of structured products that are offered to investors. And we've only begun to scratch the surface of creating and bringing those offerings into DeFi. So we're doing lots of quantitative research right now to backtest new products. We're doing user research, and we're doing lots of R&D to understand the reception for some of these potential products. And we're definitely going to be looking to launch some of these new innovations in the back half of this year. So we're really, really excited for that. And yeah, I would say in addition to that, we're making lots of changes, or we're continuing to make changes and improvements to our actual UI UX. Since we've launched more than a year ago on DevNet, we've gotten really great feedback from users who want us to even further simplify and make some of this finance jargon more approachable. So we're really taking that user feedback to heart, and we're thinking about ways of truly making these products really easy to understand, really accessible for everyone in DeFi. So I would say those are the three big things at the moment.
I like it. Thank you, Winston. All right, let's go to a very quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll have some fun. We'll finish off by running Winston through the very famous Crypto Conversation hot take round pack in 1 moment.
Look, we'd all like to say we're pro traders, but the reality is we're probably not. But with BitGet, you don't have to be. Why? Because BitGet is the world's largest copy trading exchange. Instead of you muddling through it on your own, feel confident. BitGet allows you to automatically copy trade from over 80,000 elite traders with 24/7 support on our secure copy trading platform. Start following expert traders on bitget.com. Check for details in the show notes and join BitGet today.
All right, we are back, and I'm with Winston Zhang, co-founder at Cega, offering safer and transparent yield strategies using exotic options, yes, and DeFi, which we've spoken about today. Winston, I like to finish each podcast with a quick round of rapid-fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
I'm up. Let's do it.
Let's do it, Winston. Just going to run some questions at you. Just want kind of quick, snappy answers, hot take style. Question 1 for you. I think I know what you're going to say. Where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
I'm very pro multi-chain.
Yep. Does not surprise me. Right. What would you say then, Winston, is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
I think my firmest crypto opinion is that DeFi is creating real value for so many users. And I think even to this day, there's still sometimes questions or uncertainties about the use case and the value add for DeFi. And I think my firmest opinion is that DeFi truly adds value. It truly solves real problems that users are facing in the world. And ultimately, for any good company, for any good founder, solving real problems is what matters. And I think the combination of blockchain technologies with DeFi applications truly solves problems that matter and truly creates values for users.
Very nicely said. Okay, AI. Winston, you've probably seen some of the chatter around, potentially harnessing AI for trading. There's already some examples of AI-driven strategies potentially, outperforming. Can you see a world in where we have, like a vault that is powered by AI? AI is making the trading decisions.
Yeah, I can totally see it. I think I saw a viral tweet maybe a couple of weeks ago where someone created like an AI-powered trading bot and proved that it was already generating better returns than the benchmark that they were using. So I can totally see it. I mean, at the end of the day, people unfortunately are very susceptible to emotions, and what that means is they can make bad trading decisions. And it's funny, actually, when I was in Tokyo with our team for an offsite and for one of the ETH global events in Tokyo, I was chatting with another founder who said it would be really fun if someone created a vault where you put money into the vault and the vault just executes like some sort of basic trading strategy, but you can't actually influence it. And his whole premise was that, when you give people the abilities to trade on their own, they're so subject to the whims of the market and their emotions. But if you were actually to like lock up some of these trading strategies and to lock up the deposits, you actually might see the long-term realized returns that people might not realize if they, decided to sell too fast or do something different. So I can totally see a world where these types of AI-driven strategies coexist alongside, current types of investors.
Me too. Sci-fi author William Gibson famously said, Winston, that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. Can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
The future is already here, but most people aren't aware of it. I guess where my brain goes when I hear this question is, first, within our bubble that we live in, which is very curious, very technology savvy people, are there innovations that even those people haven't really been exposed to or really haven't even heard of? And then the secondary question is more broadly, for everyone in America or everyone in and around the world, which starts to incorporate lots of different types of user backgrounds and interests. What are some of the really game-changing things that people don't know about? I think on the first one, it feels to me truly like, I think some of the large language model technologies that were brought to the public through OpenAI and DALL-E 2 and Midjourney. It's like I think that truly was very, very eye-opening. And I think up until then, very few people were probably even aware that a lot of that R&D was happening in the background. So that's probably one that comes to mind in the super tech, even among the really tech forward circles. And then I guess outside of the tech circles, something that's here that most people don't know about, probably crypto. I mean, even when I speak to friends from college, and these are friends that I respect and friends that, are very thoughtful, well-researched people, I still get a lot of questions about, application of crypto, the longevity of crypto, whether or not crypto is a scam. And so I think there's still a lot that needs to be done from a marketing perspective, from an education perspective, to continue to, shed light on the real use cases and the real value that these blockchain technologies can bring.
Yes, indeed. Nicely said, Winston. All right, let's start to finish this off. Finally, Winston, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
The one that comes to mind is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Oh, yes.
And I read that one many years ago, but it was really good. And then I learned that book was actually the inspiration
for Minority Report, right?
Yeah, either Minority Report or maybe like Blade Runner.
Yeah, maybe it is Blade Runner. Yeah, so Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, 1968 sci-fi novel by Philip K. Dick. And you're right. It was the inspiration for Blade Runner. I think there's a number of Philip K. Dick stories that have been inspirational in various sci-fi movies, etc. So yeah, great choice, Winston.
Really great book. Highly recommend.
All right. Hey, thank you so much for coming on the show, Winston. Been great chatting to you. Again, just tell people where they can find you on Twitter or wherever else you like to hang out, and again, where they should go to get involved with Cega.
Yeah, so we're super active on Twitter, on Discord, and you guys can find us on Twitter, where our handle is CEGA_FI. And in our Twitter, there's also a link to our Discord community where it's really a free-for-all in terms of asking any questions that might seem, too newbie or too unsophisticated. Like, we're so happy to help. So yeah, please follow us on Twitter. And then personally, my own Twitter is Zhang Wins. So that's ZHANGWINS.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Winston. All the best, and bye for now.
Okay, thanks so much, Andy.
All right, there you go. That was Winston from Cega DeFi. That was cool. Winston, very, very smart guy, nice guy. Enjoyed chatting to him. And yeah, great choice. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. Of course, the story of Rick Deckard, the bounty hunter who is hunting 6 escaped Nexus 6 model androids. And he's got to try and hunt them down and terminate them because they're essentially, rogue androids or rogue AIs. And Winston is exactly right. It was the basis for the 1982 film Blade Runner, which of course is a classic. And Blade Runner again explores the idea of can androids have a soul? Which is there something inside the AI box? Just very pertinent questions in 2023, aren't they? All right. Hey, thanks for listening, team. Please make sure you subscribe to the Crypto Conversation in whatever podcast app you are using. But that is today's show. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin. See you.